this is where we have to start. It is the expectations for the team for the upcoming season, because obviously we as fans have certain expectations about what we want the team to achieve this season. And we're kind of wondering if the front office and the players share those expectations. I think it's fair to say that the players will share those expectations, but will that translate as well to the front office? Because, my mindset is absolutely that the front office has made a significant investment of resources into Brandon Ingram. And at this point, they've invested a significant amount of time into the current coaching staff. 2 years. That's not a ton, but that's not nothing. That is a significant amount of time. 2 full years into this coaching staff. They've invested a lot of time into the players that are on the team right now and are investing further time because they are starting the season with this team. I seriously doubt we're going to see any trades as we head into the season. This is what we have. This is what we're going to be working with for the upcoming season. And if you're going to invest all that time in this team, if you're going to invest those resources in bringing in a player like Brandon Ingram, you have to feel like they should be going into the season with the expectation that the Raptors need to be a playoff team this season. Like, you can't really sell this season anything short of that. If the Raptors don't make the playoffs this season, that will be a major disappointment. Like, if they make the play-in tournament and don't make the playoffs tournament, that will be a major disappointment. I don't think you can spin it in any other way. The payroll is huge. They have a lot of money invested in Brandon Ingram, a lot of money invested in Scotty Barnes. Quickly is not on a cheap contract. RJ Barrett's not on that cheap of a contract either. Pirtle just got an extension. There is a lot of money that is going into this team. Like, this is a team that's got to make the playoffs. But where I see maybe a little bit of concern is when Bobby Webster was on the podium a few days ago as we were getting ready for media day. When Bobby Webster was on the podium a few days ago for I guess his role in media day, he discussed a lot of kind of the lack of expectations for the team going to the season. He was very diplomatic, let's say. I think that's the best way to describe it. He didn't want to commit to saying we want to make the playoffs. He didn't commit to what the actual expectations are going to be this season. He said they're still evaluating what the team is going to look like this season. He brought that up. He is excited for the depth within the roster, but he said he doesn't really have any expectations for the team. Now, that's slightly alarming. There's a certain element of a pass when it comes to Bobby Webster because, like, look, I know he worked very closely with Masai Ujiri, but also at the end of the day, that wasn't his final say. He wasn't the head honcho. He wasn't the top dog in that front office room, whatever you want to call it. Well, now he is. So, I guess there's a certain amount of pass because it wasn't exactly his team, but he was a major part of it. So there's like a little bit of a pass, but there's not a big one because he was still a major part of what putting this team together. And if they're going to go out and make these moves, sign these contracts, the expectation should be for this team to make the playoffs. Okay. I'll concede that, for Bobby Webster, again, the diplomatic sort of answers that he's bringing, perhaps he's kind of giving these answers where he isn't going to, look bad, essentially, down the line. If he's saying now, we want this team to make the playoffs, our expectations to make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, which is an entire possibility, I'd say it's probably like 50-50 they make the playoffs. Play-in, I think they have a really good shot. They better be making the play-in, at least. Playoffs, I think they've got slightly above 50-50 shot. So if they don't make the playoffs, you'd look really bad by saying the expectation is to make the playoffs, and it would look bad on the team. It would mean some moves need to happen. But again, I would have liked a bigger commitment from the general manager for this team to find success this season. And I think that's completely fair to say. Now, going further down this topic, once again, I talked about the front office kind of saying this. I also talked about the coaching staff and what they've been saying. And again, there's just a little bit of lack of commitment to wanting this team to make the playoffs. Like Darko Rajakovic, when he was asked about the expectations for the team this season, let's actually listen into specifically what he said. And I'll give a major shout out to a guy I follow on Twitter, Omer Osman, very good source of Raptors information, which you can find on Twitter. I would recommend following at Omer Osman 200. Shared the video of what Darko said. So again, let's tune in and listen.
But what are your expectations for the season, or do you have expectations?
Well, my expectations are for our team to improve 1%, to be better every single day, every single week. My expectation from this team is to be better with every month. You know, some of the best basketball we played last season was towards the end of the season.
So before we listen to the rest of it, the question is obviously in relation to the expectations on how the team is going to perform, like playoffs, standings, things like that. I'm not saying that this is a bad answer. In fact, I like the answer. You want the team to just be better every single day. You want the team to improve. That's fine. But again, I'm just highlighting the lack of commitment from the coaching staff in the front office to wanting this team to make the playoffs. Like, you kind of want them to, like, put themselves on the line. I understand why they're not, but you kind of want them to put themselves on the line and say, like, we're good enough to make the playoffs. If we don't make the playoffs, like, that's a problem. Something like that. I would like them to have a higher degree of confidence that this is a playoff team. That's what I'm trying to say.
That is my expectation from this group, to work really hard, to stay together through ups and downs, and to be really focused on winning every single day and winning every possession. You know, we're entering this season, and big slogan for me is going to be win for all. You know, not just to win games, but to win for the community.
I like that, and that's kind of something that a lot of the players echoed in what they've said as well. They've talked about kind of the camaraderie within the team right now, and everybody is kind of working together to get the best output. Nobody's out there selfishly looking to get the best for themselves. They want the best for the team. So credit to him, because that seems to be instilled within the rest of the roster as well.
Win for this country, to win for each other, to win for men next to you. I think it's going to be very important for us to continue having that unity that I think is blueprint for this team, and then we got to continue building on that. I expect us to be competitive in 82 games and to go out there to try to win every single game. I have high ambitions. I'm not lacking that at all. I'm not shying away from that. So I'm ready for the task. I'm ready to go out there and compete.
So, again, not that it's a bad answer. High ambitions. I like that. And I think that's good to see. Competitive for 82 games is good, because in previous years, the Raps have not been competitive for 82 games. By game like 55, they have been tanking and have not been competitive for the last chunk of the season, where they have been trying to lose games. So, hey, I like that there is a desire for competitiveness throughout the entire season. But again, to note, like, he really danced around saying playoffs, talking about the playoffs. And I'm just, I said the same thing about Bobby. I said they don't want to kind of stick their neck out and commit to this team making the playoffs. If they don't, they look worse and whatever. But they did not want to commit to saying playoffs. Now, when it came to the players, that was an entirely different discussion. Let's listen into Scotty Barnes and what he had to say at Media Day. This one was posted by The Score. Obviously, Scotty Barnes, face of the team.
The expectations, sorry, for the team this year are, higher. How would you say internally, like, how you guys are dealing with that? How do the vibes vary this year from, the past couple of years?
I think the vibes of the team are, we always try to go out there and win. Certain things happen. injuries happen, trades happen, a lot of things happen which plays a part. But you know, we're always going to try to go out there and win. Our expectations to go out there and win every single game. I think our expectations for our team is to definitely make the playoffs.
Right there. Right there. So that's where it differs. Not afraid on his part to say our expectation for the team is to make the playoffs. And then you go to the follow-up here, which is and win some games in the playoffs.
And win some games in the playoffs. That's the standard. That's the bottom line. How talented we are and what we should be able to achieve for this team. You know, we're hungry. We got a lot to prove, and we're going to go out there and show it.
So Ian.
So there you go. That's where things differ. So the players obviously, like, their goal is to make the playoffs, and they know if they don't make the playoffs, like, that's a problem. I'm confident coaching staff knows that. I'm confident front office knows that, but there's just a reluctancy to say it. And for that reason, I do feel a little bit of a concern that there is a lack of confidence, especially from the front office side of things. If there is that much of a lack of confidence that they aren't even willing, like Bobby Webster isn't even willing to say playoff specifically with his answers. And he's like going to see with no expectations. That raises a little bit of a concern because again, there is a lot of, as I started with this segment, a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of resources invested into this team. You should have the confidence based on that investment that this team is going to make the playoffs. And it is slightly concerning that that confidence isn't there from the get-go. You know, maybe that confidence is there behind the scenes, and I guess that's completely okay. And I understand the Toronto media is full of vultures, and you don't want to give them something to peck on. So from that perspective, I can also understand. But I hope that kind of comes across effectively. I'm not trying to bash anyone with that. In fact, I liked a lot of what Darko said in that clip that we saw. But yeah, it was very apparent to me that they did not want to mention the playoffs.